Welcome to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast. This podcast shines a light on Black and ethnically minoritised-led businesses across the Liverpool City region.
Exploring ambition, resilience, growth and the realities of building businesses beyond structural and systemic barriers.
Hosted by me, Joanne, founder and director of Innervision.
And the former mayor of Liverpool. Alongside myself, Yaw Owusu, creative consultant and music industry strategist.
Each episode features a single founder from the Innervision Business Growth Programme and a few special guests.
Together, we explore how lived experiences shape leadership, how culturally responsive support can unlock growth, and what it really takes to build a sustainable, thriving business on their own terms.
This is Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast. So, can you tell us your name, what your business does, and who your customers are?
My name is Nabil, and I'm development manager at Cycle of Life. Cycle of Life is a community organization based at the Kumba Imani. And we initially started during the lockdown, where our founder noticed that there was quite a bit of difficulties around that time. He noticed that a lot of people were staying at home. They weren't a cycling culture. So to tackle that gap, the idea of Cycle of Life came about. We started off giving a bike to NHS key workers and then just enabling people to ride and then just go out and enjoy their life, basically.
Yeah, I was helping Cycle of Life at the time, and it's a fantastic business model. It has loads of social impact, doesn't it? Because it just helps people get outside, it helps people stop using cars. And then you've come along a little later, haven't you, as development manager. But tell us your story, Nabil. Tell us how you come here. Are you a professional footballer in the past?
Yeah, I was an aspiring football player at the time. I used to know Ibe, the founder of Cycle of Life, before, but I didn't know about the business. Yeah. So we used to meet once or twice. And then one time he just talked to me about the business. And then I felt like, why not join them and just make something happen in the community? Because I already see myself as a leader in the community. But in the football sector, I used to organize tournaments or games with my mate. Because a lot of people know me and the level that I've reached. So I thought, I could probably do it anywhere. So I got involved with Cycle of Life then, from a footballer to all of a sudden a development officer. Yeah. So there was quite a lot of challenges I had to adapt and as well. But the resilience that I got from my football background, that helped me a lot.
Yeah, good. So I'm quite impressed with your contribution at the pitch train and previously getting wound up with you.
Take this,
Get wound up with you on different things. Yeah. I feel you've got a million business ideas, and it winds me up a little bit because when I want to have a conversation with you, previously to you join the programme, I want you to focus on one thing. So at the pitch training, the feedback I was getting that you were excellent on the pitch training, but I also seen that you were very, very thoughtful and considerate to not just the woman who's running the course, but others. And I really noticed that about you and could kind of pick up some of your nature from that. So what's it been like for you being on the programme, part of this group and some of the interventions like the pitch training? What's it helped you? Has it helped you in Cycle of Life, and are you taking lessons for some of your other ideas?
Yeah. I think the pitch training was brilliant. It's just because the way the lady was doing the sessions was quite clear. So that helped me as well. Because I'm familiar to pitching already. Yeah. But the way that she was presenting, it was more clear. So I just picked up on those skills and then was able to show that side of myself. I know I was doing a lot of stuff that you picked up on. But
at the residential weekends, he had a lot of tabs open on his computer, doing 10 things badly and not one thing goodly, I thought. Yeah.
I guess that's about me, but what the programs really helped me is structuring things.
Yeah, okay.
You will notice that I do a lot of things like here and there.
Juggling long plates at the same time.
Yeah, so as soon as I get on the program, the initial sessions, I say, okay, I can do it. This thing this way instead of that way. So it really gave me a structure of the things that I already do daily, but it gave me a structure. Okay, you do this like this, you do this aspect this way, and then he's helped me to propulse myself and then go deeper into the task and the vision that I instigate a cycle of life.
So has it been more sort of learning how to be more efficient? Has that been the kinds of growth area that you've...
Yeah, I suppose it's like paying attention to details and structuring things, like because I deal with a lot of detailed cycle of life.
Yeah.
And then sometime in the past you will see that you got a lot of details that get left out because you're one person doing that.
Yeah.
So the template that I got from the program is helping me to put, okay, I got this massive lot of work, but then I can tailor it this way and then work it through.
Okay. So I'm going to ask about Yaw and the coaching sessions. You've been coaching with Yaw, and you've just spoke before, like off camera, about you've seen some similarities, which is like, you know, painful for me to have two people that annoy me so closely.
We should work together to actually do that more, to cause more pain if possible.
So how's the coaching going, and how's your relationship with Yaw going? I mean, I know it's awkward him sitting here. We're all right though. You can slag him off if you want to.
To give a little bit of timeline, I really enjoyed the residential as well, the programs over the 2 days. But then I think a lot of stuff that I learned there, I was able to put them into practice more when I met during the coaching sessions. It helped me to value myself and my skills. So which sometimes you may look down, but it helped me to realize those skills and then put them forward.
Also help you evaluate the things that you're good at because you don't notice yourself.
Yeah. So looking at because I suppose it deals with a lot of other entrepreneurs and business owners. So we will see, okay, people at this level.
Yeah. Okay.
And his reflection on my practice on those skills that I learned during the program helped me to see myself, okay, I am at this level.
Yeah.
He's a model. Coachy. Now, but you know what? But I thought,
so you behave for him and not for me.
But I think a lot of the conversations is like, you know, reflecting where he is, reflecting what he can learn from, you know, him delivering at such a high level for this organization, but also, as you said, he's got loads of ideas, but also using this time to kind of iterate on those ideas so he can get to a point where he's like, actually, this is the best idea, as opposed to like, I can do everything, because, you know, he's got a wonderful amount of energy.
Yeah.
But if he can, you know, the focus thing, and I think that's what we've been able to do is talk about harnessing some of those things. And I think one of the reflection conversation was like, you know, him going from being someone who procured opportunities and then delivered to not now he's just managing. So a delivery team, so how we make sure the detail is delivered on. Or you can just let some detail go and let other people determine what that detail is and overlooking.
The big skills though, the hard jobs, aren't they? You know, procuring something on its own is hard enough. Delivering, I kind of like delivery, so I kind of don't like being in the middle of stuff, but actually, you know, I like doing the strategic stuff at the top level, trying to get 50 million in, stuff like that. I like helping the individual on their business, and I kind of get bored with all the middle stuff, which isn't good, because it takes more energy for me to do that stuff because I don't like it quite so much. But, you know, eBay is someone who's like it as well, isn't he? You know, I know because I've worked with eBay loads, millions of ideas. I just wanted to talk about this also culturally competent aspect of the coaching, you know, being on a course with other Black and ethnically minoritised communities, you know, being coached by someone who looks like you, being around those diverse communities. And I know that Cycle of Life does operate around diverse communities, but has that been important to you?
Yeah, I think it's been essential, because we were saying before that we see some parallel between me and Yaw as well. So when you start in the session, you see like, okay, this is my mate. So it's easy to talk.
I've got a mate through this as well. Appreciate that, you know.
You're like, you're just having a conversation, and he was saying, I was confident, I was comfortable when during those sessions. So like to bring that energy here as well. That's how it's been. So, and that is the nature of our work as well, a cycle of life. We like people leading the communities that we serve. to reflect those communities.
Yeah.
So me having the session with Yaw, I think that's more efficient than maybe someone else. Not necessarily because of their skills or the way they deliver the session, but because I can relate to Yaw.
Yeah, because you can identify with them. How long have you been in Liverpool? Did you come from Liverpool from the Ivory Coast, or have you lived other places?
Yeah, I came in Liverpool directly from Ivory Coast, and it's been about 8 years now.
Yeah. And how have you found your experience? Have you experienced much racism in Liverpool, for example? I know there's like a lot of African communities, and what scares me sometimes is I see people talking on social media about Liverpool, seeing a black girl at university say Scousers are sounding, and I'm thinking, I bet you've been nowhere near the black community. I bet you don't even know where it exists, because like you can be in Liverpool, and it's the whitest city after Belfast. It's like it's a white city. You don't see. Like I went to a school yesterday in Manchester. And honestly, it was spot the white kid in the class. And I was like, I never had that experience growing up in Liverpool, But you in the heart of the black community and work with black people. But what's your experience been like how's the city treated you from a racism perspective?
Yeah. In myself, I've experienced a lot because you're in the football sector and of course you would experience. But I've been someone who hasn't let that affect myself. So. And recently we're running a platform called Scouse Bullets. So I see myself as Scouse.
Scouts now.
I'm not a Scouse. So I have experienced quite a lot in terms of in the football sector, but you have to understand as well that sector is quite
racist.
Yeah, racist a little bit. So it doesn't necessarily translate to the reality of the wider community aspect.
I don't know, but I've been around a long time. We've had whole campaigns to kick racism out of sports. I think there's an acceptance by you as you're talking that, of course it's racist. Me personally, I don't think racism should exist anyway. So I remember being in a pub in Liverpool and Eric Cantona was getting called a frog, screaming at him, and Eric Cantona kicked him, high kicked him. And I was in a pub in Liverpool. I was in my 20s, and I was like, I don't care how much he's being paid. No one deserves that kind of racism when they go to work. Well, I nearly got kicked out of the pub, didn't I? Because I'm a Scouser defending someone from Manchester United. But also, I just that's unacceptable no matter where you work.
But I think in the sports thing, and I think this is why you're saying it, is because of the competitive nature of it, you expect to have abuse. I'm not saying racial, but in the competitive nature of it, people are going to try to demean if you're opposition. So I think it's almost like the rules of engagement in sports sometimes makes it seem like it's just part of it, because that's part of it. We disagree,
that's
but
men
it's
saying
you know
that
what
as
I mean?
well. But I just don't think it's acceptable. But what I'm interested in though is your experiences and how Liverpool has treated you. You promote diversity, you promote working with diverse groups. Do you think being black has been a challenge with that, or has it been part of your USP, for example? Has it been a challenge or has it been a strength?
I mean, in terms of racial abuse, I have experienced some in the sports sector, as I said. And in terms of Liverpool specific, there was some club that I was in, and because of maybe your color or your race, you're not put in the position that you deserve. Whereas, like, your teammate know that you're better than this teammate, but they're playing.
Sorry, I've just want to interject here. One of the first cases I ever dealt with was with Chester City Football Club, where a black kid, so I was in my 20s, so this is nearly 30 years ago, a black kid had been called a racist term, and his mother had complained. No, the club said they deal with it, blah, blah. The mother complains about it, and he got dropped at the end of the season for, we say, non-footballing reasons. We felt he was dropped because his mother complains about it. Anyway, I can't remember the guy's name who dealt with the employment tribunals, but we looked through all the times he played in the first team. We looked at all the goals he'd scored. We compared that to everybody else and thinking, now he was in a better position than other people who got kept on. But when we went to the tribunal, they said, he was discriminated against, but he was dropped for footballing reasons, and we just couldn't understand. Like, how can you say it happened on one hand and so even from, I think it was apprentice back then, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But, you know, even 30 years ago, we were trying to fight cases in football of discrimination.
Yeah.
And the situation is much better now in terms of the players are much more diverse.
Yeah.
But still getting where an employment tribunal will say, yes, it did happen, but that's not the reason. It blew my mind.
Yeah, as you like, similar to that case, there's many other cases goes unseen.
Yeah.
And I've seen myself in that position. I've seen mates in that position as well. But then when I look at the bright side as well, at Cycle of Life, our ethos is to empower communities, like such communities. And you'll see staff or people that we deal with, the Cycle of Life has experienced similar things. We remember like a particular case where a young woman, Muslim woman, she got discriminated because she was wearing a scarf, and they had to put a helmet.
Yeah.
But where it wasn't suitable.
Yeah.
They were asking her to remove the hijab to put the helmet. There is other way to put the helmet on, and part of our ethos really is to empower these communities, business wise, is to give the voice to like BME communities to have a weight in the business world as well.
Yeah.
Because we believe that if they're empowered economically, then they'll have a weight to their words. So our program are tailored to that.
Yeah.
And then we discuss with them directly. We try to amend our program to suit better their needs as well.
Yeah.
So when you think about sports and leisure in communities, and you know, you mentioned business, and I was wondering, do you think that incubates individuals from, you know, underrepresented, undersupported communities in terms of what they are facing in society?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, because like our unique selling point is using sport / cycling and physical activities to empower communities, and we do that through various ways. So we'll use physical activities, for example, to address like young people that are new to the Liverpool area, and then they're struggling with their language skills. So we will attract them with the sport, but then when they come, there is many aspects to the delivery. So they will start speaking to their mates, making mistakes, and then learning from that. At that time, of course, they're not getting qualification, but it will translate to their school life. It will translate to their behavior around people in their communities. Similar way, young people come, they try their entrepreneurial skills through cargo bike, for example. Yeah. At the time, they may not be making money, but they're dealing with money. They're doing something practical. And in the future, it will help them maybe to do their own ideas. So we have like such cases where young people will come to our program, they've gone to build their own company. So this is a type of incubation that we're enabling young people in the Black communities and other communities to achieve.
I want to stay on that actually, because we actually got to the end point about using these engagement activities to develop future entrepreneurs, you know, business people, etc. What are the barriers that you've seen working for Cycle of Life, but also when you're working and bringing other people through in terms of following their dreams of being, you know, running their own organisation or setting up their own organisation?
Yeah, one of the main barriers is that they're being looked down on.
Yeah.
So like many of the mainstream services or people of power, they struggle to see young people's potential.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it could be their age. They feel like maybe some young people are too young, or maybe particular young people from particular backgrounds are being looked down.
You're in the space of like people diverting away from crime. That's the kind of what it's thought of, rather than, you know, the skill set of becoming entrepreneurial. These entrepreneurial skills aren't being taught in school.
Yeah.
You're teaching something greater, but it comes under that kind of banner of a negative perception rather than a positive perception, isn't it?
But it seems like you get to see exactly like what these people have got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Right. And it is a positive, but it's like, what's still making them feel? Like you say, you know, is it just a lack of support? Is it a lack of internal, you know, self-esteem? Is it a lack of knowledge? Like, what are these things that would deter?
Yeah, I can expand more even on those challenges, because mentioned many times their frustration because it's not necessarily that there is no support. There is support, but sometimes the support is not tailored to what they need. We got a young man, very bright football player, but in the team environment, he can't communicate with other teammates. Not because he doesn't understand English. He does understand, but he doesn't have the confidence to speak. So they put him in a level that doesn't reflect his actual level. So it's a level a bit higher than his actual level in terms of his academic. But then he's bright at football, but he's lacking maybe in terms of academic background. So they need to be. The reason they did that actually is because they don't have a level specific for that young person.
So he's just getting put in a group that's not.
So because
really
of that, they haven't been able to progress in their footballing career, and then they've been wasting their time as well because they weren't able to succeed in their academic thing as well. So that's what we're trying to bridge as well, and it's part of Cycle of Life vision actually. We've always done activities or programs, and then those programs will look like totally different in like few
to them
months.
people,
because we've had conversation with young people. So what we're trying to achieve in terms of our vision in the next couple of months or years is to provide an alternative pathway to these young people that may be similar to this young person that I was just speaking about, so that they're able to get empowered to achieve what they're dreaming of.
So in terms with sort of teaching people entrepreneurial skills, and I see now where you're saying some of the things that we're teaching or we're putting on part of our growth programme are helpful to you and the kinds of things that you want to do. Is there anything that we're not, we need to meet your needs as well as part of this growth programme? Is there other things that you would want us to try and do? It's quite a short programme and we've got a month extension, but it's finishing soon. And we're going to do something around financial bookkeeping, financial boot camp, pricing, and then we're going to do something around procurement and getting some commissioners around. But is there any intervention that you would like to see more of, or anything else we could help with you on your journey and your learning?
I believe that the 2 days residential is quite a nice environment to be in, and for participants to see other business and what they're doing as well. What I will suggest though is maybe to expand a little bit. Maybe instead of 2 days residential, we could
broken up over time.
And
I think you're right in terms of there's a lot of information to take on. You didn't attend the reverse pitch thing that we done the other day around investments. It's not really your bag, to be fair, is it? But we throw a lot of information about people about investments, and we're hoping they just catch a little bit. We don't expect them to catch all of it. In terms of that growth programme, I could meet you weekly and run that programme. The condensing it into 2 days is quite tough. But we had a 6-month programme, and one of the reasons why we condensed it into 2 days is we were trying to accelerate your bonding as a group. And I'm not sure it's worked out for you from the first to second programme. People are bonding, don't get me wrong, the pitch training, and other stuff. But we had in the first programme, we have much more opportunities to do that.
But I also think the reason why the residential is good is, I think, from a coaching standpoint, it gives us intel into various areas of where the coachees are at, the participants are at. So because over the 2 days you did do a lot, it's kind of leaning in and going, okay, well, there's a governance thing there, or there's a question, there's a gap around growth, or and in a short program, which we say short, but 6 months is not short, really, in the general scheme of things. It's
I think it's short in terms of the time we want to spend with them,
and how you move people on. But I think, even the conversation we've had in meetings where it's gone, well, module 4 that you didn't really finish, let's go through that a little bit better. So I felt like in comparison to year 1 and year 2, or program 1 and program 2, program 1 we done a day and we tried to move people forward in a day. Having the 2 days this time round, I think, let us see a little bit more of the participants. So then we could go, actually, look, we need to lean in this way, we need to lean in that way. And I'd argue that this group has probably more functionally worked together this time around than the group before. The group before might have been more like they see each other more and were friends more, but I think
they become more socially bonded than they did work bonded. So let me ask you in a different way, what practical input do you still think you need on your journey to learn about growing the business and, grow skills that you want to pass on to some of the people that you're working with? Is there any practical input, as not to put ideas in your mouth, but, marketing or finances, is there anything practical that you would like to see more of before the programme ends?
I wanted to make a point as well. In terms of the 2 days, I got the most out on the first day.
Yeah.
And we could say maybe by the second day I was tired, but
yeah, you weren't all doing your work the whole time though as well. You were doing 5 different jobs at the same time. The second day was much more internal. You might be a bit like me.
Like the second day was resilience and all that, was it?
I don't want to deal with the fluffy sides of stuff. I don't really want to deal with how I'm feeling and, that kind of stuff. Give me an exercise to do and I'm happy. Yeah. So you might be a little bit like me with that sides of stuff, like that's not so important to you than the practical skills.
In terms of practical, I would say one thing that would be interesting to do as well is looking back at some of those skills that we picked up, is to see if like the coaches, the actual how they're doing it. If that's actually the good way, the better way of doing it, or are they doing it differently?
I'm really quite strict on getting coaching notes off all the coaches. Part of this what we're doing now on the podcast. So I'm getting the transcripts from this and I'm evaluating everything that we've learned so that when we come together next time, we can look back and see how much we've grown. I think the thing for me about having a 6-month programme towards a 12-month programme, we could test at lots of different phases because there was 12 months of coaching as well. Whereas it feels really short that I've got to try and capture what you've grown, not just from a business perspective, but how you've grown personally in the last 6 months. And what doing the podcast was kind of a way of doing that as well. That isn't just about filling in a form, because that gets a bit boring, doesn't it?
Yeah. And in terms of how the coaching has been spread out, I think that's fabulous because it gives you time to digest some of the information that you're getting. Yeah. And as well to project yourself when you're meeting your coach as well. Yeah. I think that's been well laid out.
Monthly coaching I think is the best. Like sometimes when people miss sessions, they think they can have one every 2 weeks, and that's not what it's coaching session meant to happen monthly. But one of the things I found when I was studying on coaching, people do 6-month coaching, so that's kind of a fair period. I think it's not great to have 3 sessions, or even you can go too long with a coach, where you start not relying on yourself, then you're relying on your coach to keep you in line, or your coach to check in on you. So 6 months is not a bad period actually to have coaching, but the month in between is where you are meant to do the work. Yeah.
But I think even for you, super busy, really passionate, really driven. I think the monthly check-ins have probably been a good way for you to down tools for at least an hour and be able to go, kind of step back and look at what I'm actually doing or how this fits in with my wider plans. Because you're very ambitious. You've got loads of ideas, and I think the monthly things and the way you've been quite adamant that like stick to the script, like even at this time booking them all in from the beginning. So it's like this is a commitment that is already exist. It's not just about you getting in contact and saying, oh, so when should we meet up? It's fully in there, and I think that's because as harsh as Joanne is with you, she's as harsh with us when she's like, we're getting the notes in and where are we up to.
I only kick off when I like it. If I didn't like you, Nabil, I wouldn't give you such a dog's life. I think.
I'm just going to jump in there. The coaching has really helped because it's almost like I got transferable skills from there, because I also work with young people that are aiming maybe to impact entrepreneurial in their life. So I've actually used some of the things that I've learned during the coaching.
Great. I mean, that's what we wanted.
That's made me the happiest. That's the happiest, best feedback ever.
No, but I only dawned on me sitting here today on the podcast. Obviously, I know I have no cycle life since it's set up and stuff. And then when you were saying the beginning what you were getting out the weekends, I was thinking, this is unusual. I haven't heard that before. And then I just got, you can pass on these ways of talking about growth. And, I'm glad you're getting that from Yaw about coaching. I think one of the things I'm getting getting feedback about, which I really like, and it's very basic and it's not hard for us to do as coaches, is we see you, we see what you're doing, we see what you work, we see your contribution, and we talk to you about that. And actually being seen as massive, I think, in organisations, large organisations, corporates and things like that, a lot of people think the best thing that they can be rewarded with is pay. And actually some people want to thank you, and a lot of people really just want to be seen. So being seen, it doesn't cost a lot of money to be able to focus on someone else. And, that's kind of the most rewarding thing people feel like a sense of belonging and a trusted relationship.
And just having that time for yourself. And so when you're getting coached, you come to me, and for that hour, it's not about what you're doing for this organisation, what you're doing. It's actually, I'm listening to you, and I'm focused on helping you, improve yourself, improve your practice, the most important. So, a couple of people mentioned that it's like it can be quite lonely when you're in your head all the time and you're working on stuff and you feel like an anomaly. I think we had the conversation last time about, you and some of your, work colleagues and like new ideas and it's like, well, they're doing this and they're not doing enough and and it's like just being able to talk through that and go, actually, what do I need to do to make sure that I don't feel the way I'm feeling, and but I also put up boundaries, but knowing you can trust the coach to have that conversation
and the confidential.
I think being on the program has been really important to me, because I've been doing well in a lot of aspects in cycle of life, but I wanted to have a standard to know like what's the standard. And then I believe the people like leading the program, they're the people that I've been looking up to, and knowing what they're doing and how they're doing it, it helped me to have a clear vision in terms of where I need to reach. And I think that's what's been very important to me.
We have you're in a fortunate position where us all three coaches, but we've got wildly different skills as well, haven't we? Saba's extremely polite, the opposite.
It's like a gradient of impoliteness. Saba's on the other side, totally polite. Totally. I'm somewhere a bit in the middle, and then
everyone's straight answer though. I'm the person to speak to, and Yaw's really good, I think, at lifting people's game. Obviously I've got a lot of knowledge and experience beyond what we're doing now. I think it's funny when someone else, a coach, thinks I know everything. I have to say, I know you think I know everything, but actually I know very little about the NHS, or I know very little about things. But there is kind of a lot of stuff I know about Liverpool. And then Saba's really good at asking, she's a fantastic connector, but she's also really good at also concentrating on you, isn't it? And saying, how can I help? So, you've got all three of us really, I suppose, in your
I think orbit. You've put it quite well. Initially, actually, when we were doing the coaches, I wanted to get you as the coach. Because I already knew you, and then I would wait.
Just wait. Some of you people are sick. Why would you want to be the person you have to speak to for an hour and more?
Although I know you can pick up on me sometime, but because I knew your experience from with the eBay, and then I've observed the work that you do in Liverpool for quite some time. So I was like, okay, this is the level I need to, because. But then
you're pleasantly surprised by soft lads over there.
Soft lad, we've been talking about this.
I didn't really know you at that time. But then when we started off with the Yaw, then I said, okay, actually, this is the one.
What's really pleasant for me, quite a few people have come up and said, I wanted to be coached by you. And I was like, these are Yaw skills and these are Saba skills. And everyone has come back delighted with their coach. So that's really nice for me. Might be a little bit denting to my ego, but it's really nice. No, it's really nice. I find it really hard.
By the way, I bid in for you as well. I was like, no, these are the ones I want.
I was like, have them. You can have them. No, but what's really nice to me, one of the problems I have about growing a business, I find it really hard to delegate to other people. And I it's a horrible self-standard I impose on myself about, and it's an arrogance of no one can do it better than me. Do you know what I mean? I can do it the best. So me being able to rely on not just Yaw, but Saba as well in that trusted relationship. And we've grown as coaches as part of the programme, but that's really beneficial for me. So much so, like, I want to work together in future. We want to continue to try and do this no matter where we get the resource from. But that is great. That's great to get that feedback, you know. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, actually, I was going to say, funny enough, we have some similarities there as well. It's hard for me as well to delegate tasks as well, because I feel like, I can do the better. But then throughout my coaching session with Yaw, I was able to just relax a little bit and give responsibilities. It's
my biggest regret in the work that I've done in the past, that I haven't put more effort into people, teaching them how to do stuff, because I haven't been patient enough, and I've gone, it's quicker if I do it myself. Don't get me wrong, I've worked with people like Lisa Mara from School of Social Entrepreneurs, set up Innervision with me years ago. I didn't even have to get to the end of what I was saying or thinking, and Lisa was on it. And I haven't quite worked with anyone like that since. You know, Lisa anticipated things I needed and things I'd done. It was great. I actually, when we were setting up the business, I actually wanted to go with somebody else, and it was my boss who said, no, take Lisa. And, you know, that was great. And then over the years, I just got really bad at delegating, because it was just like, I think that another aspect is I'm prepared to work late at night to get this done. I can't expect that from other people. And that's true. I shouldn't be expecting that of other people. But then I just got to a point where I stopped trusting anyone else. And it is my biggest regret and my biggest learning curve as being a manager. And then what was fabulous about being the mayor, which I absolutely loved, I set out the vision for the city. My strategic thinking, I'm a strategic thinker, and I can develop what I think is needed in a vision, and I can get people on board with that. I didn't have to deal with any of the, it was the chief executive's job to get that stuff done. I didn't have to deal with anyone's holiday leave or personal issues and stuff like that. And actually, I loved that part of the job, that what I wanted or what I engaged others to create a vision for, someone else had to go and deliver. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And, it's my learning for the future. I work in an associate relationship because I find it really difficult to take on staff, but I'm never going to grow because I'm limited in how much I can do. And you are too. You're limited in how much you can do.
But I think that growth for you, when, we've had those conversations where you're like, I'm not delivering this, but I do know that I need to, keep in touch with I need to keep an eye on it. But because I'm like, that's the only way you're going to be able to grow these other activities that you've got in mind, whether it's, the football, activity that's going to be incubated through the organisation. It's like, now you can have 2 or 3 big projects at the same time, because you're not having to deliver every minutiae of detail on every single project. That in itself is growth. If we measured growth, being able to start at one point where I'm doing everything to now I'm delegating and I can take on more. That's growth in every way you'd analyse it. That's more money coming into the organisation. That's growth for you as a professional individual. It's growth, and it's amazing to see.
The coaching discussions are a good way of supporting people and improving their performance without the people that you've delegated the work to, that you can have a conversation with them. That's it, more than a coaching conversation about how can you improve your performance, how can I support you, rather than you telling someone what they need to do. Coaching is a really good. The first time I had coaching, I thought, this is like good supervision that I don't think I've ever experienced from a line manager. And even my son, I remember he was struggling with something years ago when he was a teenager. And I said, do you want me to coach you? And he said, yeah. And so we coached him on this topic, and he went, can all our conversations be like that? And I was like, no, I'm your mother and I'm just going to shout at you most of the time. But yeah, I think, in terms of what I love about coaching is that kind of thing. And as well, we focus on coaching on your actions and your performance and the stuff you want to talk about. And we help you see that, rather than us saying, right, what we think you really need to think about.
Yeah, well, I can say that it's been done quite well, because I supervise some staff at Cycle of Flow as well. And then it's transferred to that as well. So the way I've done my supervision with staff members is changed. And it's become quite similar to the way I do my coaching session as well. And even during the residential as well. We had a coaching template as well, which I have used as well.
Good,
this is good stuff, this, you know.
You might be the coach on the next program. Might be a little coach there in the making.
Yeah.
But coaching comes from sport, you know, that's where it comes from. It comes from, like, you know, tennis players wanting to improve. It comes from the person who's teaching you 100%. Tennis is not the best tennis player. The person who's learning the tennis, the coach, doesn't have to be the best at it. They just need you.
I learned everything that I knew. Someone asked me about business and was like, well, how did you learn to run your own business? You've done it 20 years and this, that, and you had these awards and all that. I said, I learned everything from sports, right? I learned everything from being in teams and understanding my role, etc. And then when you said about coaching, and when you first asked me, I was like, no, I don't do coaching. That's for coaches. And then you were like, well, you kind of do it anyway when you're around your talent and you're running programs. Yeah. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh, it's like obviously in sports, a lot of times people think coaches know everything, but it's not. It's more about pastoral ability to raise talent to the next level and understanding what they need, but making them take responsibility for it. Yeah. And I think that sports analogy or the approach that you've taken is right.
And the feedback, you know, so I imagine, I'm not into sports at all, but I imagine someone would say to you about your football performance at goalkeeper, I understand that better. You know, you kept jumping to the left and, you know, he knows that. And so you jumped around. When you're there waiting for the goal, you're just focused on the goal, aren't you? Someone else being able to see from the outside, actually, if you clock this, he does that. So getting there to hold a mirror up. Okay, Yaw's got a good question about if you, as a younger Nabil.
Yeah, this is important, and this probably applies to you because it's not to be worried about. But because you work with younger people, this is probably going to be an easy question. But like, you know, take you when you've come, you know, you're new into this country. You know, there's racism out there. You've heard about, you know, some of the barriers. You don't have loads of money in your pocket. Like, what would you say to someone like you in that situation who wants to start a business, who's got ideas? Like, what inspirational tip would you give them based on your journey so far?
Maybe I need to put effort through that. But the first thing that comes to my mind is you just need to start it. Just need to get on with it. And the reason I'm saying that is because from my experience, I've had a lot of ideas and I've tried to perfect them before starting them off.
Yeah, people overthink it.
And because of that, many of them I haven't been able to realize many of them. But when I realized that, okay, you started and then you perfect it.
Yeah.
Then more things started getting done, and as you're working and you will know better, you will see challenges, you'll meet challenges, and
you learn from mistakes as well. You know, like business failure. We're not very good at this country. We're accepting business failure. In America, they're a bit better. Business failure is part of business growth. You know, and you've got to
you fail up.
Yeah, well, you can't. You know what I mean? I'm not sure black people get to fail up, but in terms of, like, you know, someone perfecting a model of something comes from testing and trying. I look at business ideas all the day, and look, you know, in another life, I look at investments and things like that. Anyone with a grand idea who hasn't tested the water, I would never bet on. Someone who's had a go and had lots of failure in that, but is still trying to get it right, I will bet on, because, you know that they're going to get there because they're learning from all their mistakes. So I think it's a great point in terms of just getting on with it. And I think it depends on what you're on, personality stuff. So I often ask this, what kinds of learner, and I think I don't think I've asked you this before. Can you play the piano?
No.
If I told you to play the piano, what way would you go about learning how to play the piano?
I think I'll just test out the sounds.
So that's an activist. That's someone who just does have a go. So some people are theorists, so they would read a book on how to play the piano, or some people would watch someone else and play the piano. Now, that's a very shortcut way of testing what your learning style is. But I know from doing training, people have different learning styles. Some people want to listen to the theory. Some people want to see somebody else. Some people just want to get on with it. And I think it's a big entrepreneurial trait, just getting on with it.
And I think you have to get on with it as well, because we have many people with talents now. So if you don't get on with it, someone else is going to...
on with it. You think your idea is original, and then you think, oh, someone else has done that. But, you know, it's... there is I was talking to my son about this recently. People can copy people's ideas. That's quite easy to do. You look at, Pepsi and Cola and, you can copy people's ideas. I think when you've got the original vision and you're passionate about what you want to do and you might have a go and, make mistakes and someone tries to copy, I don't think they can follow it through in the same way because it's not their vision. So I've never worried about anyone trying to compete with me, really. I've just kept my head down and carries on what I'm doing, especially if I'm passionate and I care about it. Like if you don't care so much about it, it's not so it's not so easy. You haven't got the commitment to see it through. But if it's something you care about, you care about football, you care about young people, you care about that. Other people can say they do it and have resources and more money to do it, but they won't have the same vision. And I think just as you get a bit older, when you get to my age, you see that with people. You see people who are passionate and committed and want to make it work.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point there, because I've actually observed that as well. Because of the environment we work at Cycle of Life, it's a very small team. We've had many employees or many people that they've started some things, but they haven't been able to complete it.
Yeah, see it through. Yeah.
Because maybe because like they didn't have the same passion as me or as other young people who's been able to succeed, because like me at Cycle of Life, many other young people have succeeded as well in establishing themselves in producing something that they really wanted to achieve, while you've seen others fail as well. So that is a valid point.
It's a good point. I think something I still haven't learned that I'd like to be better at is understanding what makes other people tick as well. So sometimes if you're trying to reward someone financially and they just want to be seen and be thingy, then you're up the wrong path. You don't always know that with the people who are around you. What I like about working with Sabah and Yaw, we all want the same thing rewards us. It's the growth within the cohort and with the program, with the people connecting with each other. That's the stuff we find personally rewarding. So that's why we enjoy doing it, because that's the kick we get out of it. But if we were doing this just for the money or something else, like I'd get bored. It's funny because I would like to be rich and have loads of money, but there's only so much I can get excited about money. Do you know what I mean? It's not my main motivation. It's actually
when you get to a point, if someone said, "Here's extra £10,000, do this thing you don't like," you'd rather not. As long as you're comfortable, you don't want to
go on holiday.
Or just take the £10,000 and go on holiday.
£10,000 go spa.
I think that reflecting on when you want to create your business is like, what do you want?
Why do you want to do it?
When I got involved with the eBay, initially it wasn't because I wanted money at that time, because I was only playing football. And my mind wasn't really on money. But now I do have money.
More money, please, eBay.
But the point I'm trying to say is the motivation behind what you're trying to do. So because of I had that mindset at that time. So I would face many challenges or like yourself, I'll overwork at home without even expecting like money or extra pay. I'll want to, because I want to achieve something, because I want to help this group of young people, for example. And because of that, many young people started to look up to me as well. And now that I'm not heavily involved in the delivery, they're starting to get upset because they want me to be leading that.
They grieve for you a little bit, don't they? But again, you're a good role model to them, and I know that eBay is incredibly passionate about what he does. He's really very passionate about cycling, isn't he? And I think it's easy to buy into someone else's when they're so passionate about it as well.
You can see the similarities there. He's very passionate about cycling, and initially I was very passionate about football. And then we just it just goes together there. So many times you will see at the initial phase of the business, you will like financial stability. So where you will see the owner, if it is passionate about it, he can put his own money. And we've seen that cycle of life. But sometimes some owner, because there's no money, they'll just leave it there. But we've been resilient really during our first 5 years. It's our anniversary this year. By the way.
Well, I expect to be invited to the party because I was there at the beginning.
Is it a cycling party though?
I cycle. No. I'll have you know.
I'm just saying, is it a cycling party? That'll be the thing. Tour de France. So he's coming to Liverpool.
Coming into Cumber with me bike, and he was like, I don't believe it. Yeah. I was like, well, do you know what it was?
Flat tire?
No. It was when I was mayor, I just thought someone's bound to just knock me off this bike, so I stopped cycling then.
Oh, so then when you come over, but why did you choose to cycle into your car? That's what I'm saying. Did you have a flat tire on the car? So you've taken
I
the bike?
never had a flat tire. You've just made that bit up. I was bringing the bike into the office.
All right. I saw it. Because I always see you in your car. No, but I've always seen you in a car. You live quite close to the office, to be fair. So
yeah, but in Covers, I was cycling like I couldn't believe. I used to cycle from where I live, but right down to by Otterspool Prom to come through Sefton Park because I wouldn't cycle up the hill by the cathedral. Yeah. Anyway, during Covers, I used to cycle. I couldn't sleep during COVID for some reason, but I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go cycling. I used to cycle up that hill from Dingle, you know, for them houses, the bread street. But the grunting and the noises as I'm coming up there at 6 o'clock in the morning, people thought, what's this woman doing? I've got a very, I don't even know what they're called. I went to Amsterdam. So I went, when I was younger, I spent the money for my 21st birthday. I was supposed to buy a car and I wasn't really great at learning to drive. So I got a bike, you know, to get roadworthy. Yeah. So I've always been on mountain bikes. And when I worked at the community architects, I remember we cycled from Manchester to Blackpool once. But a friend of mine lent me a racer. So I was in my 20s, going around Liverpool, I fell off, you know, the tunnel to the Birkenhead tunnel. I fell off the roundabout in the rain on a racer. I mean, the only thing I'd done is I ripped my coat, but it freaked me out. I don't like cycling in the rain.
You go around the roundabout like a good citizen. Just go on the pavement.
Well, that's the first step. That's the first step.
Well, to be honest, I was cycling at that time to become more roadworthy, and it's done the job. Yeah. But when I went to Amsterdam, I was like, how come they're all sitting up on their bikes? You know what I mean?
Because the races, you like your better,
even though I'm 6 foot, it's uncomfortable for me to be on a racer. Anyway, so I've got one of them. I don't know anything. No, I haven't got a mountain bike. What are they called?
Speed.
No, one speed. What do you think?
Shopper bike. You've got a basket on.
Do you know what it's called? A bike where you sit up properly. It's a girl's bike basically, but it sits up properly and it hasn't got a bar. There.
Oh, okay, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
but it's got 3 gears, 3 thingies.
Okay, I thought it was a one. I thought you like a cool hipster.
Do you know where I'm from in Liverpool?
Yeah, go on. Break it down to me.
Choppers with the thing when I was a kid.
That's not about where you're from, Liverpool. That's about a generation.
So I had a chopper, or we had a chopper. I can't even remember whose bike it was. We spent all day on that chopper because you can get someone on the back and you can get someone on the front.
So you're well too young to know what a chopper is.
You know, you've
Cycle Life don't know what choppers are.
You haven't lived unless you've been on a chopper. Ask eBay. eBay's the same age as me, you'll know.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for your insights.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Innervision Business Beyond Barriers podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can check out more on the Innervision YouTube channel.
The business programme itself was commissioned by the Liverpool City Region Combined Authority Race Equality Hub, and this podcast is produced by Nothin But The Music.